welcome to Ram and Goat Astrology. I am Laura Lee.
And I am Helena, your Swedish
buddy. How do you say friend in Swedish?
kompis.
Kompis.
Din svenska kompis.
Like a compass, like north, south, east, west?
No, but that's cool. No, kompis. K-O-M-P-I-S.
Yeah. Okay.
Kompis.
Okay.
Yeah.
But now I'm going to think of a compass as my friend. So.
But that's really beautiful. That's so poetic.
I really like that.
I'll be your compass.
Aw, I love that. Happy transit reading to you. I can't believe we are almost at the end of another month. What the heck? So crazy. So we've been transiting, before we dive into the month of the next transits, we've been transiting, dealing with Saturn in Pisces for a while now. And that's an interesting transit that I've been kind of paying attention to in the background. I know some people really get into the moons. Some people really get into the Mercury stuff. I really enjoy paying attention to Saturn transits. I feel like that's where there's a lot of good, juicy stuff in there. I was listening to a podcast the other day, yesterday, 2 days ago, and it was talking about, it's called I'm going to give it a shout out and put the link in it. It's called The Ultimate Human with Gary Brecka. And he's a phenomenal podcast if you guys are interested in health and wellness. But he had a guest on, and they were linking the connection with physical health, gut health specifically, and nutrition with mental health. And the doctor that he was interviewing, Dr. Christopher, somebody I'm looking to see, he had a lot of work with schizophrenics and bipolar disorder. Dr. Christopher Palmer, that's right. And I knew when Saturn went into Pisces, we were going to deal with mental health. Like I knew this. We all felt that coming. And it followed that crazy pandemic Saturn and Aquarius time, right? And of course, we're going to have mental health stuff come up when you shut down the world and take life away from people and force them into, boxes that Aquarius will not tolerate, right? So now we're dealing with the repercussions as Saturn goes through Pisces. And it's been there now for a while. What's Saturn at now? What degree is he at? I don't even know.
14 or 15?
14? Yeah, I think so.
16, actually.
16 degrees. 16. So he's right in the middle. He just passed the middle of Pisces. And this podcast that I was listening to really made me happy. It made my heart happy because we are finally recognizing, like this is stuff I've been talking about for years, of red food dye triggering massive brain inflammation and mental health issues, and recognizing the gut brain connection. And finally, I'm listening to this podcast where they are talking about how much impact the gut makes and the nutrition makes on people who are medication resistant and people with major mental health struggles who, they've tried everything, right? They've even let doctors shock their brains and do all kinds of crazy treatments, and that stuff hasn't worked. So these are treatment resistant people, and lo and behold, they get put on a ketogenic diet, and wow, they feel better. Wow, they can function. Wow, they can get a job. They can hold down a routine. They can, like, he is seeing so many huge shifts within these clients and these patients. And I feel like I was preaching this from the rooftops probably about 15 years ago when my son, it's his birthday tomorrow. When he was born, and shortly after, I saw when he was given red food dye, like this kid in 12 minutes would be psychotic. And then I started to recognize the connection with me, and we eliminated all food dyes immediately. Now, I know in Europe, you guys don't have food dyes the way we do here. And I'm so grateful that you don't have to deal with that. But it was a really amazing podcast where I saw this like mainstream concept of this disassociation between food and mental health finally start to get bridged, finally start to merge this Piscean fish going one way and this Piscean fish going the other way. And instead of looking at them as separate fish, you sit on the edge of the pond and go, oh, maybe they're interconnected. Oh, maybe we should look at this. Maybe we should be mature and work hard to shift the way we heal as a society. And I was like, listening to this, now I know they weren't doing this podcast with astrology in mind, but that's just how my brain works. I always connect everything together with astrology. But
It's
this
hard
one,
not to.
it really is.
You can't. You actually can't.
I don't think so.
Can't not do it.
No.
No.
This podcast was such a realization of, oh, look, it's happening. People are finally realizing big pharma isn't solving much. I'm not going to say anything, but not solving much. And it's not the solution for most of us, right? We have to go back to the foundational levels. We have to make sure our cells are getting the nutrients. We have to make sure our mitochondria gets the gas so it can do the work, right? Like, oh, look at that. I love the thumbs.
Yeah.
So we've got so much hard work to do with connecting this Piscean energy, because Pisces has such a tendency to separate, right? There's this like dissonance of just ignoring the fact that there are two fish going in different directions and trying to just follow one of them instead of recognizing you have to see two. You have to recognize both. And we went the big pharma route for forever. And now we have to go, hey, what's that other fish doing?
Oh, yeah.
What else?
That other fish is doing some real interesting things.
Yeah. So this Dr. Christopher Palmer is working on bringing in and creating wellness clinics across America to really do gut testing and genetic testing and biomarker testing. And this is stuff that functional medicine doctors have been doing for years now, but it's just finally breaking into allopathic medicine. And I'm grateful, but come on, could we go a little faster, please? Nope, it's Saturn. Never mind, we can't. Nope. So I wanted to talk about that transit because I thought it was a really important one. And even though it's not a monthly transit, it's a longer term. It's still really something we've got to create awareness around. Wherever Saturn is, he's asking us to do the hard work. And Pisces is healing. And it's teaching and learning too, because it used to actually be ruled by Jupiter before Neptune was discovered. And so there's that element of guru energy and teaching or learned one, like Jesus, right? The teacher.
Yeah.
So we've got to be learning the hard lessons and then teaching them to others. And this is a hard lesson as a health coach and medical issues I've had my whole life. Nutrition is intimately connected with your hormones, your mental health, your skin, your hair, everything. If your hair is thin, it's your guts. If your nails won't grow, it's your guts. If your face is breaking out, you got too much sugar, it's your guts. Right? Like I can tell you, I can look at my children's faces and go, how much sugar you had eaten lately? I can see it.
All over your face. Yeah.
But that's not what we're taught by our doctors, our traditional doctors in America.
Yeah.
So it's finally integrating other cultures, other ideas, other ways of doing things slowly, but surely. Saturn will get it in there. So I want everyone to make sure they're doing their Saturn lesson and they are doing their own personal healing and looking at what have you been avoiding? What have you not wanted to look at that could really affect your healing? Is it your sleep? Right? Is it your food?
And if you guys want us to do like a special episode on Saturn, we could do that, or we could we could also do one maybe for our Patreon that we're opening up very soon.
I love that.
We have one episode coming. The first episode will be about Uranus. Maybe the second should be on Saturn. Let us know what you think. Should it be on Patreon? Should it be here? But it will be somewhere.
I love that. With Patreon, we can dive in really, really, really deep, which I love.
Yeah, it will be more like almost like you will learn a lot, like a little bit more schooly.
Yeah,
but in a fun way.
Of course, we do everything fun here.
Yeah.
So what's happening for the month of May? What's going on?
We are leaving the month of April with a Pluto square to Venus. And we're also starting the next month, the month of May, with that transit. On the 1st of May, we still have Venus square to Pluto. So we're going we're segueing in between those 2 months with the Venus square Pluto. And if you want to hear more about that, you can listen to the episode about April, where we talked a lot about Venus square Pluto. But this is a tougher energy that we're starting the month with. Has to do with
finances, relationships, your values. There's just going to be a lot of tension between that and what needs to be transformed.
Yeah.
What
So
do you
like
need to
not
change?
yeah. So we're coming into May with that. On the 2nd May, we have a new flavor. We have Mars sextile to Pluto, and this transit is exact on the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th of May.
Yeah. And then on the 2nd of May, also, Pluto is making his trek backwards. So he does this once a year, usually, right? For a while. And so he's going retrograde May 2nd. So if you have any planets in the early degrees of Pluto or early degrees of Aquarius, he's going to be playing around on top of that. So again, this is time for you to shake up, wake up, recognize what needs to be shifted again, and don't fight this energy. Don't do it.
No.
Roll with it because it needs to happen. So while Pluto's going retrograde, May 2nd, Mars and Pluto are going to be having a nice conversation, a simple, easy conversation.
And these are two power, like when I see Mars doing something with Pluto, or also Saturn doing something with Pluto, it's you're gonna feel it very, very like in your body. Mars is very much your body, and Mars is also about your your drive.
Energy.
And then you have Pluto.
Yeah.
Energy. And then you have Pluto, which is power,
passions,
it's
desires, goals. Kind of that. I always think of Pluto whenever I think of a movie director or a producer, somebody who really creates this bigger concept. But you don't necessarily know what they're creating. They see it in their head. But that director, that producer has this grand vision and this artistic flavor, but it's got to take time for it to come out. Scorpio doesn't necessarily move fast, and Pluto doesn't necessarily move fast. It's kind of that transformation of underneath the current, right? That Plutonian undercurrent energy. And then Mars is go. So we're going and we're transforming, but we might not see it consciously. We might not see the results of it right away. But there's some action we could be taking here on our goals and the things we really want to achieve, whether that's finishing up your business plan or, going to get money from the bank or whatever. There's something happening like in the background or under the surface.
Yeah, I'm so happy about this transit. Had this been a square transit, and we had something, I feel like we had something similar.
April was enough. There was some squares and stuff going on in April. We're good.
Yeah, but having these two powerful, like with the energies that Pluto and Mars have, I feel really excited because they're in this nice flowing conversation, and we can use this power. We can feel powerful and like really use that drive, the powerful drive, what comes from within, and like I just feel my eyes going like in, when you have like these eyes, super intense eyes, and you're like, I see where I'm going. I'm gonna go over there.
Yes.
And I'm going there now.
Focused. Focused energy. Yeah.
Pluto can be super focused because Pluto can also get like obsessive about things. So yeah, Pluto is super good at focusing.
So obsessive. So obsessed. I think that's a word people don't think to associate with Pluto as much, but I see it in my son, his Pluto's in the 5th house. My Pluto is in the 6th house. I see these obsessions show up in my different family members in these various areas of life where there's just this incredible intense need for him to create and to really get into this artistic flow. And when he's in it, like you can't get him out. Like he's just obsessed with it. And it's all he'll talk about, all he'll do. It gets exhausting. But Pluto can get really obsessed. So Mars sextile to Pluto, your drive might suddenly shift into this strange obsession energy where it might even surprise you, where you have this urge to just do something that maybe isn't seeming to align with your values, since on the first we had that Venus square to Pluto. So the values and Pluto had a kind of an argument. And then the next day, Mars is like, well, if you're not getting along with her, let's go do this thing instead, right? It's almost like a friend conversation or friend fight. And then another friend comes in and grabs Pluto and is like, well, let's go play over here, and leaves Venus sitting there. So your values are sitting there kind of butt hurt. Now, these two went off to do something else that Venus doesn't really agree with or maybe want you to do. But Mars and Pluto don't really care so much. Interesting energy. I'm so curious to see how this will show up for people. Tell us in the comments. We'd like to know.
Yeah. And it's just, I just want to say that looking at this coming month, I feel so happy. In April, we had, so many squares.
I gotta
So
say,
many squares.
It's a better flow than last
It's,
month.
yeah, this month we're seeing so many sextiles instead, so many trines, because now the planets have moved further in the zodiac, so they're making new formations with each other. They're having new conversations, and these are
So what I would recommend is, as we go through these transits, if we talk about a certain energy where it's now sextile or trine, and last month it was square, you can go back and think about how that tension showed up, and now how the sextile or the trine is easing that or resolving that, right? It's kind of a continued flow, a continued conversation in your life, and you get to play these energies out. So how did that tension develop, and now how can we resolve it in this life or in this month? So we've got a little bit of a break, but then the 6th, the Sun and Saturn are sextile to each other. Oh, I love that.
This is on my partner's birthday.
Yay. That's a great solar
that's a nice
return.
solar return.
For sure. I love that for him. So a sextile for Sun and Saturn, how would you interpret that, Helena?
So the Sun is your vitality and like your life force, and I feel like it's like that the seed inside of you that glows. Saturn comes with lessons and maturing, so I feel like that could be, we could probably see ourselves maybe in a new, more mature way, how we need to go ahead and act around different areas in our life. It could be, it could be pretty much anything, because the Sun it's so you, and you bring your center into work, you bring it into your relationships, everything. It's about how your identity and how you need to grow into that. What you need to grow out of.
That sounds so lovely. I think there's definitely a patience connected with this energy. There is this work ethic, a strong work ethic that shows up with this energy. So whatever you were planning when that Mars and Pluto took action, this is going to be supportive of being mature, right? Making good work decisions or good decisions on whatever showed up the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th for you. Now the 6th and 7th, we can really take a hard look. We can look at that paperwork from the bank. We can take a look at, the contract that we got sent, or the daycare assignments or agreements, and whatever we're agreeing to, whatever we're looking at, we can just look at it with these mature eyes and have a healthy, take our time. It's not rushed. It's not a forcefulness. It's not a brash energy. It's very like, be persevering with this, be patient, and have a serious attitude about the longevity of what you're working on. What does this look like 2 years from now, 3 years from now? Take a look at that. Even if you're working with your kid and you're like, okay, and we're having a really hard time. Is this hard time, if I really hold my ground and be the authority figure right now, is this going to improve our conversation? Is this going to improve our relationship 2-3 years from now? Or is this going to add to that fracture that's already there? That's where Saturn and Sun can kind of create awareness around that authority, maturity energy. such a great energy. I'm gonna
Yeah,
circle
yeah.
this one.
I feel like this is like this is the reward we get for going through April.
Oh, yes, please. I'll take it. I'll take it. Reward me,
And
universe.
yeah, the day after that, on the 7th of May, we have a lovely new moon in Taurus.
We do. I love
Yum
Taurus
yum.
new moons. I love Taurus new moons. You guys, this is like, you get to, this is the manifesting, this is the juicy manifesting of relationships and money and new bed sheets or a new home or a new car, the foundational stuff, the stuff that we really, really live with, maybe a new TV, right? This is the stuff where you can really call on your spirit guides, put it in your journal, and like ask, this is what I'm really looking for this year, universe. Thanks so much. Love, Laura.
Yeah, and make it also like pleasurable. Like Taurus is also remembering what you need, but not only in that sort of Capricorn earthy way, you know, with like I need to pay my bank loans. This is more like I need to have, yes, silky sheets to make me feel good.
Yes.
Or I need to have fresh flower bouquets at least every month because I love the smell of flowers.
Right.
Taurus is all about pleasure and all of our senses.
You know what this is? I'm going to do on May 7th. I have been thinking about doing hair appointments for myself. I usually like color my own hair and really don't really get it cut very often. I'm thinking of changing that. And this sounds like a great day to see if there's any openings and schedule it. For the new moon in Taurus or right after, because that's, like getting your head scrubbed and getting your hair done. That's very Taurus energy. And starting that kind of new routine to take care of myself better feels very aligned with that energy. I'm putting that down. May 7th, everybody. May 7th. All the hairdressers are going to be booked up salad.
Fully booked.
That feels so nice.
I love Taurus for that, for like reminding us about the pleasures in life. Like it's not all about work and survival. I mean, sometimes it is, of course, but there's also pleasure in life.
And even if it is about work and survival for you right now, find something to enjoy and really take comfort in that pleasure. I love going to Lake Michigan. It's a couple miles away from us, and sitting on the beach with my feet in the sand. It's free. It takes 5 minutes, and it's so pleasurable. So even if you're struggling, find something that just, I don't care if it's watching a bird in the tree, right?
Yeah.
Oh, just be that bull out in the field, smelling the flowers.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, like even if you don't have money to put to maybe go to do a hair appointment or something like that, you can ask someone to give you a massage or give someone a massage or something. Like pleasure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this is definitely asking for what you need, asking for what you want, speaking up and saying, hey, I would really appreciate it if you could rub my feet sometime tonight. Right?
Yeah.
Just being matter. I love my son, who has 3 planets in Taurus, for the simple fact that he's very good at just matter of fact statements. I feel, and I know this with your partner and all his Taurus. They're so good at just the black and white matter of fact, like this is how it is. And so when you tell them, hey, my feet hurt, could I get a massage tonight? They're like, okay, cool. Her feet hurt. She needs a massage. Like there's usually not any judgment. There's just the matter of fact kind of energy about it. So they don't usually, it's not a hard energy to work with when it comes to getting your needs met. It's usually quite simple with Taurus energy. So
yeah. And this is also sort of the first lunar event, except for this full moon we just had in Scorpio, that is out of the eclipse season. Like this is the first new moon after eclipse season. And I feel like we finished off the eclipse season with that full moon in Scorpio. And we're recording this now on a Wednesday. We're still in it, and it was a
I'm
big,
in it. I'm in it.
yeah, big emotions, big feelings with full moon in Scorpio. And now this is the first new moon on the 7th of May, first new moon in Taurus after that. And it feels so refreshing. It feels just super fresh and like,
yes.
yes.
That is the word. I'm so glad you took it and put it in
Yeah.
your mouth. That's the word I was going to say. Doesn't it feel lighter? And even though this, like right now we are in a Scorpio full moon as we record this, and it is quite intense, and I had a good verbal vomit before we recorded, so thank you for that, Helena, and got some stuff out of me. But
Anytime.
it feels, now that we're past that eclipse stuff and the Mercury retrograde ends in just 24 hours here, I feel okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we made it. So
I know.
looking forward to the lightness and refreshing energy of spring and Taurus. Yes, please bring it.
Yeah.
We have a couple days off there after that Saturn Sun sextile and the new moon, though. We've got 8, 9, 10, and 11. They're just quiet. The sky just all decided
After
to take a
that
break.
new moon. Yeah.
Everybody's like, we're good. We've had enough. We're going to take a nap.
Yeah. Just go be fresh.
Yep. So in that time, what we get to do as little earthlings here is integrate. We get to use this time to integrate all of the things we've been doing. So May 8, 9, 10, 11. Mark on your calendar, integrate the energies. This is just letting the water seep into the earth, right? Letting the water wash away the fire that got burned, whatever took place in your life. Like, let everything settle and enjoy or cry or whatever has to happen. But we don't have to do, we just get to be. This is be in the moment, in the space for 4 days. I love that the sky is quiet for 4 days.
Can't believe it.
Stop talking. Moms can't do it. Just stop talking for 4 days, please. Oh, thank you, May. Thank you for that quietness. But then May 12th, the sun and Uranus decide to link up and have a conjunction. So we get 4 days of quiet, and then we get to shine the light on some chaos. Isn't that just how it goes? The toddler sleeps, and then they wake up.
Yeah. So, as you all might know, recently we had the Jupiter Uranus conjunction in Taurus, and they are still linked to each other. They're still conjunct. And so now the sun is joining in and shining wherever the sun is in the zodiac. It's like pulling a huge spotlight. And like, okay, now we're going to shine this huge spotlight on the Uranus Jupiter conjunction in Taurus. And I feel good about that. I feel like that would be a continuation of whatever came up in April with that conjunction.
Yep.
Which was just not too long ago at all. And this would be like a continuation of that, and maybe even shedding some more light on whatever that was.
Right.
With the sun.
Now we get to apply the vitality and the life force energy of the sun to the rebellious, weird, independent energy and expansive, learned energy, good luck energy of these two planets. So whatever showed up for you in your life where you really needed to step into your independence, step into your own autonomy, rebel in some way for a cause, not usually just for the sake of rebellion, usually for a cause. For me, it's very much showing up in my daily routines with my children, right? I am rebelling against the way they are functioning. It's not working. We have to do something different. I can't keep going with me begging you to do chores and function like a human. You need to take action on that. So I'm being real big and expansive around creating independence within my children. Like, that's been how it's showing up for me, so that I can be my own independent self. I don't have to be like pulling them and tending to them individually. Each, did you do the laundry? Did you do this? I don't want to do that shit, right? I don't want to. And Uranus is very rebellious against the things that you just have to do but don't want to do. I don't want to do that anymore. So now the sun, I can see where this is about 2 weeks out from where we are recording right now. And I can see if we don't make shifts in the next 2 weeks from where we are now, and there hasn't been stuff changing in our daily routines, when the sun shines on these two on May 12th and 13th, if that is not, if there hasn't been changes in our home, that's when I'm going to really like light everything up. I know this. I know this about me, and we're going to have even more awareness and more energy put into making healthy changes for our family. So that's how it shows up for me. You guys is all going to be different. You can't predict Uranus, right? How do you feel like this is showing up in your world?
In my world, very like personally, like we just talked about, the Uranus Jupiter conjunction is trying to my ascendant, how I show up in life, and I feel very much like I am being close, becoming closer to my core, like more like my authenticity is shining through stronger, and like you said, bringing your inner weirdo out.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's really how it's showing up for me, just allowing me to show up as the unique person I am. Like, we're all unique, but in my unique way.
And what do you feel like you're rebelling against? Anything? Is there any rebellion coming up?
Society. As a whole.
That works.
Yeah. No, but
I loved your face there. You're like, oh, how so many things.
Yeah, there's so many things, but with Uranus, it's all about doing things your way.
Yes.
Being that that cowboy, or cowgirl, like riding out into the sunset and like, see you later.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go on an adventure, and I'm gonna do whatever I want and be weird about it, and not care about what anyone thinks about me. Like, that's taking it far, but
not really, because if you're thinking about like, and this is in Taurus too, so these are connected, these energies are all connected to our values, our money system, and our relationships. So if you have relationships where you are not able to be your authentic weird self, or express yourself in the way you need to, or whatever, this could be an area where these relationships don't last, right? They're just not going to be sustainable, because Taurus is loyalty and groundedness and loves to be relationally connected in a healthy relationship. And Uranus really, really needs to be independent in relationship, and which is very doable. My husband and I have managed this for many years. There's a respect that has to happen with this energy. That's the key here. You got to respect that independent rebelliousness or weirdness or eccentric energy, and then you can do relationship well. But if you're in a relationship where this is not okay or respected or honored, I can see where the sun would really shine on this and say, okay, we need to be mature. Jupiter is quite mature as well. It can get a little crazy and obnoxious, but it is the learned one. It is the wise one. And Jupiter can go, all right, we need to be smart about this, and we need to get out of here. This isn't working for us. Whether it's your job, a relationship with your loved one, partner, family, whatever. Step out for a little while and see who you are without that, and see what that looks like. I don't care if it's even a group text message, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Find what brings you a sense of calm, because Uranus really rules that nervous system. And if your nervous system's activated, it's talking to you, it's telling you things. So May 12th and 13th can be a really aware time for your nervous system and what is stressing you.
I think that it could be really interesting to see where that falls in your chart, to see what house that falls in. So wherever 22 degrees of Taurus falls in your chart, and what house that is, you can see the theme of how this energy, or like where it will play out.
Interesting. And it may not show up right away. So this happens May 12th and 13th, but because it's Taurus, it may not show up till June, right? The energy or the response or the whatever, because it's slower reacting, it's slower responding. So if you make a decision now, you may not have to deal with it or whatever until a couple weeks later, a couple days later. So it's not necessarily instantaneous when it's in Taurus, even though it is the planet of instant.
Yeah.
So the 13th, we also have another sextile. I'm so happy about this. The 13th and 14th, we've got Venus and Saturn having a lovely conversation, which is always fantastic when these two are sextile, because we have maturity, again, with relationships and money. So that just makes a lot of sense, especially with what happened May 12th and 13th. If we're not in a good relationship or we're not being respected for who we are, Venus sextile Saturn may be that energy we need to step up and be mature and say, hey, I don't think this is working anymore. I don't think I can work here. I don't think we're good together, or whatever the situation is, right? And you could do it in a kind, compassionate way. That could be an energy where you decide to maturely step away from something, or maybe take on a new project too. How do you see Venus and Saturn saying hi to each other?
I feel like this is such a delicious continuation of the sextiles that's happening. Like we first have the Mars sextile Pluto, which is sort of deep, but it's still a sextile. Then we have Sun and Saturn talking to each other, maturing, and then the Sun and then Saturn and Venus, so maturing, about whatever we value. And it's just, I just love all of these sextiles. I feel like it will just be like when light bulbs, when you just walk around and you're like, oh, I just had a really amazing idea that would make my life a lot easier.
Yes, I do.
I feel like this month will be like boom, 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 like a little bit like that. Like, oh, hang on, that thing is easy. Why didn't I do that? I'm gonna do it in that way instead. Like with sextiles, it's like a very easy energy.
Yeah. I
Super
always
easy, accessible.
I think of a sextile as a pen. Okay, so I've used this analogy in my readings before, and this is how my brain gets it. So a pen is an amazing instrument. Amazing. And 100 years ago, they weren't easily found, right? Pens weren't readily available everywhere. Now, people have pens in their car. You can find them in the road. They're everywhere, right? And a pen is incredibly powerful. You can write the Declaration of Independence, or, whatever. You can write an entire novel. You can write things that change the world. But we forget how powerful a pen is. And it's just everywhere. It's an easy instrument to use that is incredibly powerful, but we don't recognize it because it's just there. It's just there. But
the pen should have its own day.
Right, right. But 100 years ago, 200 years ago, that was not a thing. People did not have paper and pen readily available. It was not easily accessible, and you did not have the option to put your energy, thoughts, and ideas onto paper if you could even read, right? Like, this was not something that was gifted to everybody. And now we all have this. And that's what I feel like a sextile is. It's a beautiful, easy gift that we don't even recognize because it's just there. Just, you can't do. Oh, I thought you could do that. No, you can't. Oh, this is a thing I can do. Oh, right. Like, it's such a simple energy with no difficulties, just a lot of just flow. It's like when your ink just comes out and your hand just works, and it's lovely. So I love sextile energy, but the problem with it, I think, is that we don't even know it's there because it's just there. It's just a good day. Oh, I just had a good day. Well, cool. Let's honor that. Like, let's work with that. Right. Let's do something with that. Yeah, that's my sextile speech.
Yeah.
I do want to talk before we move on real quick. The 15th, we have the planet Ceres going retrograde. So she's an asteroid, and she's going retrograde in Capricorn. Now, Ceres in Capricorn, as she's trekking through there, This is our self-care planet. We have a planet that represents the things we need to nourish our body and our soul and our mind and our energy. And she's going retrograde in the foundational, hardworking, and practical sign of Capricorn. So wherever that is in your chart, you need to understand that energy. Mine happens to be in the 7th and 8th house. So I get to do lots of deep transformation work when it comes to self-care, and I am. But you've got to take a look at how are you taking care of yourself? Are you getting your 6 core needs met with your water and your sleep and your food? Right? Are those the first 3? Are you journaling, meditating, and exercising? Are these your 6 core needs getting taken care of? Practical stuff, right? Really
That's
practical.
amazing because Mercury enters Taurus on May 15th as well.
Mm.
So we have our mind, we can also, we will be loving this, making lists and getting
Perfect.
into all the scheduling, all the things that we need to do and need to look at for our self-care.
I love that. That's such a great combination. And especially coming off this Venus sextile to Saturn, with Venus being our values and Saturn being mature. So, you guys, this is such a great self-care month and awareness around our relationships and our relationship to people and finances and our past, right? Our parents and grandparents. Lots of relational energy, understandings, and healings. Ooh, I'm loving this so much more than April. Excellent. Excellent. All right. So we have May 15th and 16th. The sky is quite quiet again. I like these pauses of quietness that we can just take a break.
Breathe.
And then May 17th, we have a couple things going on. One of them, we've got Sun and Jupiter coming together. So that's a conjunction in Taurus. And then the other one is one of the few square energies this whole month. And that's Mercury and Pluto are going to be squaring up. So that's it's not a long lasting transit, but it's one of the few that we do need to mention.
Yeah, the only square that will happen in the whole entire month. And if you don't really know what that means, I can just say that April was full of them. And if you just think about April's energy and challenging,
tension filled,
yeah,
not a little bit argumentative inside of you, like not sure which person gets the microphone, not sure which energy gets to take the lead. It gets to be confusing sometimes. So Mercury and Pluto square to each other. It happens quite frequently throughout the year as Mercury makes its trek around, but every time it does happen, there's a power struggle with the words. There's this communication power issue. So the 17th, there may be a power struggle with Mercury and Pluto with how you communicate. Might be a little too forceful. It might be like you try to manipulate, you want your way. And then with Sun conjunct Jupiter, we expand and we could get a little bit obnoxious this day. This could be a little bit challenging of a day, May 17th, but I'll take one day of the month to be challenging. Yeah. That's fine.
Yeah.
We're good with that. So that's not too terrible of a day. It's definitely one to just kind of be aware of. Maybe put on the calendar that the kids might be a little feistier that's this day, or maybe a little bit more obnoxious with their wants and their needs. Maybe you might be a little feisty and obnoxious with your wants and needs. But it shouldn't be too terrible, because then the next day we've got the Sun and Jupiter conjunct again on May 18th. But then Venus and Uranus come together with a conjunction. So this is an interesting day.
Yeah, so now Venus's energy will be mixed up with the Uranus, the energy of like sudden things and sudden changes. And Uranus is also that like burst of ideas that comes out of nowhere, or you just like,
yes,
you have like a flashes. And when it comes to Venus, it brings the energy of softness and wanting to round things out, and interested in stability in like the finances and taking care of relationships. So
I could see with this new ideas with those things, right? New flashes of
yeah,
insight on how to, run your relationship better or do your finances better or in a new way or making a change in that. Maybe you want to consolidate your credit cards and get this new interest rate. There's all kinds of ways you can use that energy, but it's definitely one that's going to be positive with the sun conjunct Jupiter and then Venus conjunct Uranus. This is one that's a great day for finances. A great day.
yeah,
Like I'm gonna put this on the calendar for sure. May
yeah.
18th.
And I think
Positive.
this is also like a could be a really, really fun day to go on a date, like a friend date or like a romantic date.
Take yourself on a
Because
date.
because Uranus can be fun. Like
Yeah.
Uranus is adventurous, trying new things, and maybe with your partner you'll try some new things, or see something from another perspective, maybe with your partner. Like I think it could be a very nice like date day,
Yes.
like hanging out with your buddy.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah,
And doing something different that you've never done before, right? Exploring with that Jupiter active and Uranus active, but then Sun and Venus involved in there. There's newness, there's
mm,
exploring, there is something we've not tried before. I know my brother just went to his birth, or he's going this weekend. He's going indoor skydiving. So I don't, that's not available for everybody, but that would be something crazy and new and fun and playful and big that you could do on a date with this energy. So that was just an idea that came to me. It's something weird
yeah.
and big. So that's great. I love that. May 18th, take yourself on a date or your partner or your friend. Go check out something new.
Mm.
What's going on the 19th and 20th then? These are like do 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 do. There's
Yeah,
a
there's a
lot
lot
happening.
of yeah, there's a lot of transits, like almost like the rest of the month. There's a lot of transits. Like every day, there's more than one
Mhm.
exact transit. So what are we on now? Are we on the
We're on
19th?
19th now.
Yeah. So 19th, we still have Sun conjunct Jupiter.
Mhm.
We also have Sun sextile to Neptune and Jupiter sextile to Neptune.
Mhm.
So there's two, because Sun and is in the same place as Jupiter, both of those planets will be in a sextile to Neptune.
I love this
And
energy. I'm just like sitting with this
yes,
energy. I'm tasting the flavor of what these all like feel like together, right?
yeah, Neptune is still in Pisces, and the Sun is in and Jupiter is in Taurus. So that mix between Pisces and Taurus,
Mhm.
I'm
It
liking
wants to
it.
feel good. It really wants
Yeah,
to feel good. Have a nice day at the beach, hang out and watch movies, read books. It's do art, right? It's
yeah,
very like something just needs to flow and be in this yummy, very sensual, very tactile, right? Like feeling
mm,
things, touching things. There's this flow of positive energy, comfortable energy, healing energy. I
yeah,
love this. I don't know why I love
yeah.
this so much. It feels yummy.
Yeah, because it's exactly like we talked about earlier, like with that pen. This is a sextile, so it's such an easy, accessible energy, like
Yeah.
writing with your pen. Like you might not even notice how easy these days flow. But
Well, that's
and
exactly it. It's such an
yeah,
easy thing. We don't even acknowledge that, oh, look at the positive energy. Typically, we focus on, oh, the Scorpio moon is hard or whatever.
mm,
But we got to honor these lovely flowing days because this is a good day. This is a good day. I love this energy because we've
yeah,
look at the planets involved. We've got the sun and Jupiter still like lovely sharing energy. Whenever those two share an energy, it's like this happiness, this energetic, bright light of happiness and goodness. And then we've got Neptune involved. And Neptune and Jupiter talking is this spiritual, nebulous flow of artistry and creativity And then Jupiter is, let me help you tap into that and expand that even more. Let me help you
Mm.
pull the potential out so that you can really work with it. Like these guys are all enjoying their time together. They're enjoying these conversations. It's great. Nobody's arguing. No one's having any difficult conversations. It's just easy energy. May 19th, you guys. Put this on your calendar. Yummy
Yeah.
day.
Yummy day. And Neptune is all about that. Yeah, nebulousness. So I'm sensing almost that you will feel more like Neptune evaporates a little bit. Like it makes you more in tune with the unseen world. So
Yeah.
I feel like like that veil will be thinner for us. We will have the all the other worlds more easily accessible to us.
For sure. 100%. Yeah, like your
Mm.
higher senses are getting tuned in, right? Your understanding of, oh, I am getting this pull or this push. I am getting these intuitive nudges. I am feeling this. It's like being aware of a song in the grocery store and all of a sudden then tuning into it and starting to sing
Mm.
along, where before you were just reading the ingredients on the jar of sauce, right? And then suddenly your awareness that there's a song playing, and your awareness that it's got a beat, and your awareness that it has an energy, like creating that awareness is what we really need to do. And these planets together really help us to tune into that song and that spiritual vibration. Oh,
Mm.
I love it.
Yeah, 19th and 20th of May.
Good
And on the
stuff.
21st, we will still have the Jupiter sextile to Neptune
Yeah.
also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got a lot going on those couple days, but then the 22nd, now we've got the sun having an easy flowing conversation with Pluto. So the sun will be trine to Pluto. And that is a powerful energy where we can really do some big transformations. We can really rise from the ashes of whatever we need to. And that the sun there with that conversation will help enhance that transformative process and
Mm.
create an awareness around what we still have to work on in our transformation journey. That feels nice. What else is
Wow.
going
Yeah.
on that day?
So we also have Venus. Let's see here. Venus conjunct Jupiter.
Mm-hmm.
And we also still have Jupiter sextile Neptune this day. Jupiter will actually be sextile to Neptune all the way through to the 28th of May.
That's a
So
long
all the way
transit.
to the 28th of May. Yeah, because Jupiter moves so slowly,
Mm-hmm.
and so does Neptune. So it's a long transit. But the shorter one is Venus conjunct Jupiter.
Mm-hmm.
This is, I feel like it's like a huge cake with different layers of delicious things. Like Venus conjunct Jupiter. Okay, so we just had Venus conjunct Uranus,
Yep.
getting that
Wake up,
unique
shake up.
flavor, yeah,
With the
into your
shake up
relationship.
of the relationship, of the finances, and now with the
Mm,
conjunction of Jupiter, we get to take action,
expand.
embark on it, and start off on a new journey, expand our journey, expand what we've been doing. There's all kinds of infused new energy here with relationship and finances and values, our home life.
Mm. The only thing here would be that you might like spend too much money, because Venus is your finances and Jupiter is that really, happy-go-lucky planet that just sometimes thinks the glass a little bit too half full.
A little bit too half-full.
A too half full. So you might
Awesome.
think like, oh, everything is gonna work out. Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money spending, but I'm gonna get that back.
Yeah.
And you might, but also, yeah,
Be
just
a little mindful.
be a little
Yeah.
mindful.
Anytime Jupiter and Venus come into contact like this is always an energy where we spend first and think about it later. always. It's just
a little like that.
if you've been wanting that TV or that new couch or that whatever you've been wanting and you've been waiting, this is a time where you'll probably just go, all right, I'm doing it. We've
Yeah.
been waiting long enough. The 23rd is my anniversary. My husband and I, it's our
Oh,
anniversary, and he scheduled a couples massage for us on that day. And
nice.
I'm looking at this energy going, oh, yes,
Amazing.
please. That looks
Yeah.
perfect. So
Yeah.
getting into that flowy state, that relaxed state, that self-care state with Venus, right? Really valuing that nebulous time to just be. That's something him and I are working on very, very, very hard. And I think
Yeah.
that's a lovely thing to have scheduled on that day. Good job, us.
Yes.
So
Yeah. So we
we
still
have,
have
but that day we also have a full moon, the 23rd. So we have a full moon on that day there's a lot going on the 23rd. Holy man.
yeah,
Sun
there
trine
is.
Pluto, Venus conjunct Jupiter, Venus sextile to Neptune, and then Jupiter still sextile to Neptune, and a full moon in Sagittarius.
Oh yeah.
Because we forgot to mention on the 20th the sun goes into Gemini. Whoops. Back up a couple
Right.
days.
Yes. Yes. So on May 20th, our big lovely sun leaves Taurus, Earth energy, and goes into Gemini, an air sign. A much faster moving energy than Taurus. So this is when, if you look at nature in the northern hemisphere, you have the Taurus. It's all about the earth, like everything is coming up from the ground. And then in Gemini, it's more like you have all the butterflies buzzing around and all the bees.
The
So it's
movement.
more, it's active.
Yeah.
Yeah, the movement, and that's Gemini. It's just like buzzing around.
Yeah, it's when everybody's networking and connecting and finding out where the best place to build the nest is. And right, there's a lot of activity
Yeah.
and networking. Gemini season is the time where you can kind of come out of your shell and go do some lunch with some friends or go, interact or network or chit chat or it's that very involved with people. There's a lot of
Yeah.
peopling in Gemini season. So
Yeah.
as the sun moved into Gemini the 20th, and then right after is when all these transits happen with all of Venus and Jupiter and Neptune and all of this. So this is really honestly a phenomenal season, you guys, for networking. If you are in any kind of business at all or growing a business, I know I have so many solo entrepreneur women I work with. This is networking month right here. Like this is it. This is when we start working with our feminine flow and we really get into that connection energy and help lift each other up. That's what that Venus and Jupiter are all about. That's what that Jupiter and Neptune are about, right? Being in the flow. And then, of course, the connecting with each other. How can I help you? You help me. I help you. Let's work together. That's exactly what we want to be doing during this end of May, really, the second half of May. It's such a
Yeah.
great networking month. Get out
It
there,
is.
do your networking.
But back to 23rd, the full moon, there's a lot of transits happening. A lot of them has already started a couple of days before, but the new one is Venus sextile to Neptune now. And this is super lovely, I think, because I feel like Venus and Neptune have a lot in common. They both have that softness and that, they're compassionate and they care about the other. It's important with relationships. Like it's just a really nice, soft, creative energy.
Incredibly creative.
Yeah. And we have a full moon this day in Sagittarius.
And a full moon. And the
Yeah.
full moon in Sag is when we're releasing energy, emotional energy specifically, but releasing energy around all themes Sagittarian that are holding us back. So, nervousness or fear of traveling or putting yourself out there and being seen or telling people the things that you know. Sagittarius is the learned one and the guru, the professor. And so not sharing that is a detriment. We need to know what you know. We need your information. We need your love. We need your light. We need your purpose and path to be shared. And Sagittarius full moon gives you a chance to release the things that are holding you back. And then you can take that Gemini sun, like we talked about, and chatter it up, share it, talk about it, network all over the place, right? Just share it. And so, really utilizing the compassion of Neptune, who's very involved in this full moon, incredibly involved. The compassion of Neptune.
And Neptune is involved with so many planets this month.
So
So
much.
many.
And he's at the tail end of Pisces. And I love
Yeah.
this because this will never happen again in our lifetime. It won't happen again for 200 some odd years. Neptune is not going to be going through Pisces for a long time. And I love it because this is where it's comfortable. This is his home. This is the energy that really connects well. And so, with Neptune at the tail end of Pisces, we are now in those very mature degrees 26, 27, 28, 29 degrees of Pisces is really mature energy. It's really understanding the spiritual path this earth is on, the spiritual mission, the waking up that we're all doing, that we all feel in some way. That's what Neptune's having us activate. And look at all the planets going, hey, let me help you. Hey, yeah. I'll help over here, right? Neptune's getting all of this support for us to really wake up to our spiritual connectedness, to the fact that we're all on this planet together and that we all share the same air. We all share the same Mother Earth, right? And we all have to make some compassionate changes. We have to make some compassionate changes. And I love that this is what's happening in May. This feels so good.
Yeah.
Much better than Aries and April energy. Oh, and I usually love me some Aries energy, but this time I was happy to let it go. So we've got a lot the 23rd. The bottom line for the 23rd, you guys, have some compassion for yourself. Take some time and flow as much as you can on that day specifically. There's five transits, 5 things happening.
Yeah. And sometimes I was just thinking, because we had so many challenging transits in April, and sometimes you know it's almost easier to have something like, oh yeah, well, it's that it's the full moon in Scorpio, or like it was the sun square Pluto. Ooh. But now when we have so many easy, flowy transits, wow, what's this month gonna look like? I'm really intrigued to see how, because
especially for people who are waking up or are still fighting the wake up, fighting the spiritual, connectiveness, fighting the flow, and they're trying to control. I'm so curious how that's going to look because this to me looks like surrender. Right? Like floating in the water. You yes, you can paddle, but for the most part you're going to go where the current takes you.
Yeah. Neptune, rules the waters and very much letting go. It rules Pisces, which is the last zodiac. It's the last sign in the zodiac. It's that very last, before you die, almost before you leave this world, the Earth world, and go into another realm. So yeah, I totally get what you mean. Like surrender. Like it's all about. It's like, like becoming one with the ether almost.
For real, which is not comfortable for many people.
Yeah, the one thing that can happen which I don't think is going to happen here, because these are all sextiles, but what some people might find if they're very uncomfortable with that floating away feeling is that they can feel anxiety rising up with Neptune. So if you feel that, you just need to tap in with the physical again. Yeah.
And that's where art comes in.
Yeah.
Tap in and do put that angsty feeling into something. Pick up a paintbrush and a watercolor and put on paper, right? Just like a 3-year-old. Like just start doing something. Get into the physical reality and the physical creation, right? Put some beads together, make a necklace, grab some yarn. I don't care. but start to physically work with something, and that'll help the flow, and it won't get that angsty kind of almost like a buildup inside of you. And
Yeah.
then it can flow like without the dam in the way, the beaver dam in the way. All right. So the 24th, we still have that Jupiter sextile Neptune. And
Yep.
then the 25th, Venus is now in alignment with a trine with Pluto. So now we've got those two having an easier trine conversation. So we've got a lot of Venus energy this month. It was Mars last month, wasn't it?
Mm.
There's a lot of
Yeah, Mars was very active last month.
now this month it seems to be Venus and Jupiter and Neptune in all of these,
Yep.
which is fine. I'd rather work with Venus sometimes. And this one we've got relationship, money, and values, having an easy conversation with that transformation planet and that rebirth cycle. So what needs to be changed, what needs to be transformed, what needs to be renewed and
Mm.
and destroyed and created, right? What is not working in your relationship with finances or a person or your home or the things that you value, and what do you need to let go of? This is a great day to really honor those values and the things that you hold dear and maybe let go of some stuff. I could see this as a
Mm.
good purging day. If you'd like to clean out something, clean out a closet, May 25th might be a good day for that.
Definitely. Yeah, I like that. On the 26th, or actually on the 25th, also Jupiter enters Gemini.
Yes.
Yeah. So Jupiter has been trekking through Taurus for a while.
A long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Entering Gemini, and this again, like we have the sun here now, also in that more buzzing energy. Jupiter now entering this, like expanding everything that is, yeah,
Mm.
like you said, Laura, the mingling, chatting,
Yeah.
getting around, and socializing and checking what's out there. I feel like this could be a great day. I'm just thinking about like world politics right now. Like maybe this is good for communication because Gemini
Yes.
is communication, and Jupiter expands. So hopefully this will bring a lot of good fortune to communication
This is really
on
what
this planet.
I'm honestly praying for to all the planets and everybody's out there, right? That we can have some bigger, deeper understanding of each other and where we're all coming from and how we can see both sides of the equation, right? Both sides,
Mm.
not just one perspective, but Gemini offers multiple perspectives. That's the cool thing about Gemini. I love that there's this understanding of words, there's this need to understand. It's a
Mm.
craving that that
Yeah. Oh
Gemini
yeah.
Gemini
Never
energy
ending.
craves. And now Jupiter is big craving of understanding, big craving of communication. So I hope this really paves the way for enhanced communication. I just
Yeah. I mean, Jupiter is so curious. So this is also, I think this is going to show up as wanting to know. Like, this is interesting to see where it goes with media because with Gemini being so super curious and Jupiter expanding this, how is that going to look uh, in like the news? Are we
oh
going to become more critical, or it's going to be more like fake newsy stuff? Like there's going to be a lot of people at least wanting information,
that's such
really
a good
thirsting for information.
that's such a good question because one of the more negative, lower vibrational energies of Gemini is that it can be two-faced.
Yeah.
So I'm so curious as well now that you've triggered that because I think we've been seeing media that has been, false and made up and blatant lies. And we were just talking before we recorded that Canada, we think it was Canada, that one of the
Yeah.
prime minister of Canada was one of the first uh, elected high up officials to apologize to all the people who are forced to lose their jobs or get injected with vaccines and all that during the pandemic. She's one of the first to say, "We're sorry, we were wrong. We shouldn't have done that."
Yeah.
Whoa. So I'm curious what happens when the media starts to really experience this Jupiter Gemini energy, because we haven't had this
Mm.
experience for 12 years. 12 years ago, we didn't have the online space and presence that we do now. 12 years ago, iPhones were just becoming sort of normal in people's lives. Like it was
Mm.
just a thing. I remember when Elliot was born, he was that was when the first iPhones really came out, and that was 15 years ago. So this is a new era for us. We've never seen
Oh
this
yeah.
before. I don't
No.
know how this is going to go, but I do think we're going to be craving transparency and craving that understanding what is really happening here. Really, what are we being told? So we're being told this, but there's something else over here, right? There's two
Mm.
sides of the story. We have to keep remembering, and Jupiter is going to give us that ability to challenge that misinformation.
Yeah. And also with now when we have Pluto in Aquarius at the same time as Jupiter is going into Gemini, I just feel like the amount of like, new technology,
Yeah,
because technology is also communication. I think that the next coming year, we're gonna see such a speed up in new ways to use technology that's gonna simplify a lot.
absolutely.
Yeah, I'm just noticing
Absolutely.
myself even like using AI tools for more and more things.
Well, one of the things we've been looking at for our house, and I've been really feeling a need to do this, like I'm actively searching to purchase something, is a digital wall touchscreen calendar where we have chores and schedules and like everybody's stuff. And there's a couple different options out there, but I have been doing paper and pencil calendar for our family for a while, and it is not working anymore.
Mm,
It's just not. We need something that evolves with us and how we live now. And I can see that kind of, like you said, that technology and that AI being
yeah,
integrated more and more and more easily. So 12 years ago, think about
interesting.
that. When was Jupiter in Gemini last? Was about 12 years ago. What were you doing then? Right? Little like 11.29 years ago.
Mm.
So think back in your own life, what was going on, and kind of think about the lessons you were going through at that time. It's always curious to me to explore your own past and what happens then.
Oh yeah.
All right. And
So
then the end
where
of the
we now?
month, we've got
Mm-hmm.
May 30th and 31st. We've got, it's a little bit quieter after Jupiter moves. And then we've got the 30th and 31st. Jupiter's trying to Pluto, and Mercury and Uranus come together for a day there at the end of the month. So there might be a little bit of chaos with how we speak, a little bit of
Mm,
sudden things flying out our mouths. Whoops.
right.
maybe we speak more independently, and we maybe rebel in a new way with how we're thinking or talking to people. We put out posts, social media posts, that maybe speak our mind in a new way, or we start communicating completely differently, right? Change the way we communicate. So the end of the month could bring a little bit of a different flavor with Jupiter and Pluto talking to each other, and then
Mm,
Mercury and Uranus talking to each other. I feel like there's a little bit of rebellion here, a little bit of change making energy at the end of the
mm.
month with those 2
Oh
days.
yeah. Yeah. It's on the May 30th, it's the Jupiter trying to Pluto, and then May 31st is the Mercury conjunct Uranus, and still Jupiter trine Pluto.
Yeah. So when you think about the, like you said, that Gemini Aquarius energy with Jupiter and Pluto, we've got very intellectual, very fast, and quite rebellious energy. And then with Mercury and Uranus, we've got Taurus energy, and it's a little bit stubborn. And then Mercury is going to be still in Aries at that time, right? Yeah.
Mm.
So we've got some interesting. Oh no, Mercury will be conjunct Uranus. So does he go back into Taurus?
Mercury.
Yeah, he must go back into Taurus.
eh, no, hang on.
Does
Brain.
why is my brain not?
So if Mercury is conjunct Uranus, then that must be in Taurus.
Yeah, it is in Taurus. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the retrograde stops end of the April, actually today when we're recording this. So
I
retrograde
know,
and then
so
moves forward.
nice.
Oh, good, because then my brain will function better.
Yeah.
So Mercury and Uranus will be hanging out in Taurus. So that's a stubborn energy. It doesn't want to move. It gets stuck in the way it wants to be. And if that's in this rebellious, independent, kind of weird, eccentric way with Uranus, and then Jupiter and Pluto are having their conversation, there could be some energy here. May ends with a pop. That's what I see. It ends with a poof.
Yeah. So it started with that Venus square to Pluto May 1st, and then it was like just all those lovely sextiles and trines, and then ends with not too bad, but a little poof.
Yeah, a little poof. It's not terrible.
Yeah.
It's just a little like a pop, just a
Yeah, to wake you up.
Yeah, wake you up. It reminds me of those party poppers where you pull back and it shoots out some
Yeah.
and makes this little pop. That's what
Yeah.
this feels like to me, a little party pop.
Pop. Yeah.
How does May feel to you overall?
Very interesting. Like first I was just like so relieved to see all of these sextiles, and now I can't help but to think like, oh, but how does it look like when there's nothing challenging in the sky?
Right.
What's gonna I mean, for sure the first thing I think about is a time when you allow to have other things come up to the surface, because when you're focusing on sun square to Pluto, that energy, then maybe there's a lot of other things that has to pause and wait for their turn. But now there's more softness and allowance for things to come forward. So it's and softness is not actually always easy.
It's
So
not. It's
yeah.
not. Softness and stillness and flow, I actually find to be some of the most challenging energy. So while I certainly do like it and I appreciate it and I'm now searching for it and reaching for it, it's quite challenging for me personally to be in a softness and a stillness and a flow state.
Yeah.
It's not an easy thing, especially for, people who are go, 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 do, do, do. So I'm going to stay in tune with my energy this month. That's what I feel like my assignment is.
Yeah.
Is just stay in tune, recognize what my own needs are. And you guys drink a lot of water this month. Neptune is involved in like every single thing this month at some point.
True.
Drink a lot of water. Just because. Just drink more water. Because Laura said so.
Listen to Laura. Neptune evaporates, so
right?
you need to
rehydrate. Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody, and exploring the May energies with us. We always have so much fun kind of attempting to predict what's going on and what's happening. And I do hope this helps you guys. I know I like to put these dates in my calendar and just make little notes, right? Just little notes of like patience with myself or whatever it is. And it does really help me along my path, along my journey. So I hope this helps you guys. And if you'd like to support us, you can buy us a tea or a coffee, or you can share this with a friend. And we will catch you next time. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Ram and Goat Astrology. You can support the show by buying us a coffee or a tea. Link in the show notes. Your financial support means the world to us. Join us next time.